welcome back. Today I'll be talking about learning. And when I say learning, I mean learning in general. I'm not talking about just academic stuff. I'm talking about learning as a whole. So say you're learning a new skill, or say you're even trying to improve on your skills. I'm also talking about, say, it could be learning, academic stuff. It could be learning a trade. It could be just trying out something new, just, learning something or improving on what you already know. For me, I've got to realize that learning reveals how much I do not know. The more I learn, the more I realize how much I do not know. I don't know if that's the same thing, for you, but that's what I've come to realize. The more you dig, you realize there are things that you never ever imagined, existed. You never ever thought of. And then you begin to see different things. That you never ever, thought of or imagined. And that's the beauty of learning. So today I'm focusing on learning. I mean lifelong learning. So you're not just learning for, say, to pass an exam, or learning to just win a competition or something like that. I'm looking at lifelong learning, something you do in the course of your life, something you do over a long period of time. So what are those characteristics, or say those qualities that I feel like people who are just fascinated by knowledge, or people who are just who want to know more, who want to learn more? What are those qualities that I feel like they possess? I feel like the first indicator is the first key indicator is curiosity. Curiosity, yes. I feel like, what would even make you want to learn in the first place? What would make you want to improve on your skills? Or what would make you want to learn something new, something different in the first place? You're curious, right? You're curious. You want to see how you can better do whatever you've been doing, or how you can actually do something totally new or different, or how you can improve on the things that you're already doing. I feel like you want to get better, right? So curiosity is important for somebody who is looking at it. Growing, who is looking at, and when I mean growth, I mean like professional and personal development. You have to ask questions. Why? What if? Why do people act the way they act? Why do people do certain things the way they do it? Just living life and just saying, that's the way it's done. I don't think that's really the best. I feel like we can ask good questions. We can actually even change the norm. Why are certain things done in a certain way? Why do people do things in a certain way? Ask critical questions like why, what, how, what if? Why do you do things in a certain way? What happens when it's done the other way? What happens when it's done in a different way? What really happens? I feel like sometimes we human beings feel like people who ask a lot of questions are just trying to show off, or just trying to make people acknowledge them, kind of. But that's what I used to think. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who think the same way. But for me now, I feel like that's not true, really. Someone who is genuinely curious, right, is really humble. In my opinion now, I feel like if you're genuinely curious, you're really humble, because there are people who would not even want to ask questions, who would not even want to change anything. They want things to be done that way. They don't even know why things are even done, the way they are done. They just want things to remain the same way, and they feel like they already know. They know everything. Don't change it. I already know. This is it. While like the curious person is someone who acknowledges that really they don't know everything. That's why they ask questions. They want to see if there's a better way of doing things, right? And yes, I feel like the curious person is humble. For them to actually ask questions, they're indirectly saying, I don't know everything. I really want to know more. So yeah, curiosity. That's the first key indicator. So what's the next one? I'd say open-mindedness. Now, when I talk about open-mindedness, I have to really be careful, because I'm not saying you have to allow people come tell you what is wrong, right? I'm not saying you have to let someone come and tell you that 1 + 1 is 11. No, but I'm just saying I feel like we human beings, we all have, at least we have some of the things we believe in. We think certain things, and we think, things should happen in a certain way, right? But I feel like it's also important to be open to listen to the next person, to hear someone's perspective, to allow people, share their experiences, to allow people, share their opinions on topics, on subject matters, on whatever it is. I feel like it's important because there are times when we'll say, oh, this is it, this is how you should do these things. But then when you listen to the next person, you realize that, or you find a better way of doing those things. So I think being open-minded is very, very critical. The next key indicator is adaptability. And I think this is very, 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 very important. Very important for anybody who is going to learn, who's looking at growing, who's looking at just doing great things, who's looking at doing spectacular things. You have to be adaptable. I mean, just think about it. The thing you did 10 years ago, that particular thing, if you were to do it today, would you do it the same way? Things are changing, and you also have to grow. You also have to adapt. You also have to learn. I feel like we human beings generally, we all complain, right? We complain about certain things. We complain about everything, if not. But I feel like somebody who is adaptable, even when things happen, they complain, but then they are able to find a way to figure out what next to do. They're able to figure out what their next step should be. They would rather spend, say, a good portion of their time figuring out what the next step should be than complaining, right? So they don't complain as much as others would, right? So that's important, and I think it's very, very, it's an important, quality to have. Just being able to adapt. Just think about it. People immigrating to Canada every day coming into this country, and the goal is to probably get back to doing the beautiful and the wonderful things that they were doing back home. And then when they come here, sometimes they don't quickly or easily get back into their field, right? How are you able to adapt? What are those things that you can quickly do to get back to where you want to get to? Or maybe there's something even better out there. How are you able to still adapt? Say you come here and things don't work out the way you have planned them. How are you still able to adapt? That's a very key component, The next key indicator is the ability, to acknowledge faults and deficiencies. Yes, we're all humans. We make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, right? But the ability to be able to acknowledge your mistakes and then move on. It's really, really, really critical and important, right? If you're really going to grow, if you're really going to learn, if you're really going to see yourself move from 0 to 100, you have to be able to acknowledge your mistakes and move on from there. I mean, just think about it. You do something and it doesn't work out well. You go back home. Look at it. What did I do wrong? Okay, how can I make this better? How can I improve on my skills? What can I do to get better? I think that's important. If you're ever going to do wonderful, great things in life, I feel like it's important to be able to acknowledge your mistakes and also acknowledge your deficiencies. Oh, I'm not too good in this area. How can I get better? Honesty. I think that's also very important. You being honest with yourself and with others. As human beings, I feel like sometimes when you're asked the question, and it may be something you don't even have any knowledge on, or something you have very little knowledge on, we just have this tendency of trying to answer something we don't even know, trying to provide an answer for a question that you don't even understand or you don't even know. We just have this tendency of making up an answer because I guess we feel like, imagine me saying I don't know this thing, that's shame. But honestly, there's no shame. There's no shame anywhere. There's no shame. If you don't know it, you just don't know it. And I feel like you're humble if you just come up front and say, oh, I really don't know this, or I don't really understand this, or I have limited knowledge in this area. Yeah, but I'm learning and I'm gonna get better at this stuff. So there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that you don't even you don't know this. It's beautiful. I've seen so many wonderful people that in my opinion are like smart and intelligent, and when they come to me and say, oh, I don't know this, like wow, this is something wonderful to learn. You don't know everything. When you have something you don't know, my sister, my brother, you don't know it, just say I don't know it. I don't know this thing. I'm gonna learn, and that's it. Honestly, I think that's very, very important. Another key component is the ability to maintain a variety of interests. Guys, I come to realize that people who are just passionate, about learning, people who just want to grow, people who want to soak up all the knowledge that they can, get, are very, very interested in doing multiple things. They have a full-time job. They are workers in the church. They volunteer in their community. They have their own personal business. To just, they do multiple things at the same time. They just want to grow in as many areas as possible. And I think that's so beautiful to see that we can do as much as we can do, right? So I feel like God has empowered us to do much more than we can imagine. God is at the center of everything because He's the one who gives us the grace, right? So I feel like the ability to maintain a variety of interests is a key indicator of people who are passionate about knowledge, people who want to grow, people who want to learn, people who are lifelong learners, people who are focus on the personal and the professional growth, and that's really important. Another key component that I would also like to raise, which is probably the last, I know there are so many of them, I'm just giving you like 6, is creativity. Oh my God, there are people who are so creative. Just think of these comedians, these people who give you jokes and then you laugh and you're like, hey. Just think about them. You think it's easy? Do you think it's easy? They have to keep learning. They have to keep researching. They have to keep finding better ways to make you laugh. That's not easy to do. You have to be creative, really. You have to be creative. Figure out a better way. Figure out better ways of doing things. You have to be able to excel at problem solving. You have to be able to really excel at problem solving. Creativity is very important for if you're going to do wonderful things, if you're going to do spectacular things. I think it's very, 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 very important. Keep growing, keep learning, keep improving yourself. You don't have to finish learning everything today. In fact, it doesn't even, that does not make sense. I don't think so. You don't have to learn every day in one day. Just say to yourself, I'm going to learn all the days of my life. I'm just going to keep learning one step at a time. I'm going to keep growing one step at a time. I'm going to keep developing myself one step at a time. And I think that's beautiful. By the time you do this, I'm also doing it, you see that you're not just doing things because people do things. You're not just following the bandwagon. There's this quote: anything worth doing is worth doing badly until you're good at doing it. So anything worth doing is worth doing badly. So in quote, until you've mastered the skills, until you're better at it, then now you can go and do, better. But anything worth doing is worth doing badly. That is if you don't even know what you're doing. That is if you're still learning, that is if you're still growing. So just continue, learning and you get better at it. Guys, we've come to the end of this video. I'll see you next week. Bye.